Howdy, folks. I'm Cat Scratch Brian,
I'm Cat Amber.
and here's some very catty Reddit. All right, folks. Our first letter is titled, Am I the jerk for choosing my budget over my boyfriend this Halloween? I need some perspective here. This whole thing is so out of control. I'm a 28-year-old female and I own my own house, and my boyfriend, a 29-year-old male, moved in January. We had a ton of early money arguments and agreed that we would keep a household budget. Also, he agreed to pay down his credit card debt. I have more flexibility in my personal spending than he does. Early after we moved in, my boyfriend told me that as a kid, he always wanted to live in one of those houses that were totally decorated out for trick or treat and hand out full size candy bars. Here's where I messed up. I took this as a comment and not a plan. When the end of September came, we went to the Halloween store and he was under the impression that we had savings for this. I didn't know. We go over the monthly budget together and it was never listed. When he found out that there was no Halloween savings, we had an argument. Afterwards, I talked to friends who all said that he had talked about trick or treat extensively and how much it meant. I chalked this up to a misunderstanding on my part, so I came up with $500 of my money and went to him with an apology. He decided to buy one big piece, an animatronic clown and some lights. It burned through the $500. Plus, he put a little down on his credit card. He wanted another big piece and was mad that I wouldn't put it on my credit card. I asked if he wanted to put up a handmade decorations or spider webs, and he said it would look cheap. Well, a few weeks later, we had a fight over candy. He was still stuck on buying full size candy bars. We easily get over 250 trick or treaters, and I said we just don't have that kind of money. So we got bulk bags of candy and small bars. I also had these little coloring books for allergy and diabetic kids. Jump forward to Halloween. Early as kids show up, and he's letting them grab handfuls. I remind him that we have a ton of trick or treaters coming, and he got really annoyed. I had ordered a pizza for us, so I get it and I go inside for about 10 minutes. By the time I come back out, the trick or treat bowls were empty. He had been dumping a third of a bowl in each kid's bag and had given out all of the coloring books to whatever kids came along. He told me that I'd have to go and run and buy more candy on my credit card. I said I wasn't going to do that, and it just wasn't my fault that he decided to hand out 20 pounds of candy. He started yelling right there in front of the kids, and I told him to come inside. He responded that he wasn't stopping trick or treating even if there was no candy. I told him to go and have fun with the clown, and I went inside. He came in 15 minutes later and then demanded that I leave for the night so that he could clear his head. He argued that it was fair because I had already eaten and it was my fault that the trick or treating was ruined because I'm cheap. I handed the rest of the pizza to him and I refused. He left and went to a friend's house, and I guess they spent the rest of the night drinking. Handed out trick or treat candy and texted me about how awful and cheap I am. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, but dump him like yesterday.
Yeah, well, this is clearly not working out. And OP kind of did everything right
Mm-hmm.
here. They went above and beyond, and they
Mm-hmm.
even took $500 of their own money in order to make sure that he would have a fun Halloween. And instead of like using and budgeting that money, he just burnt through all of it. And OP didn't even stop them with the animatronic
Mm-hmm.
clown. They weren't like, "Oh yeah, you might want to like slowly go through this money and buy accumulate other things, right? Halloween isn't about accumulating everything all at once as much as we would like it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm a huge Halloween person, but I have never dropped $500 on Halloween things in like, I don't even think my entire collection is worth that much. But, I've amassed mine over many
Yeah,
years.
well, that's just it, is that these are small purchases that we make. We buy a few things here and there. And the fact that he was dumping so much candy into these kids'
Yeah.
bowls, I understand the want and desire to
Mm-hmm.
do this, But at a certain point, you just need to make sure that you have enough candy for all the kids.
Right. Well, and the way he's calling OP cheap, like, dude, if you need more money, like, save up for it, get a job. But
Yeah.
like, it seems like he sees OP only as an ATM to fulfill his dreams.
Yeah.
And when she can't do that, then he gets really hateful and mean.
Yeah, this is just not a healthy relationship for OP. It seems like money is going to be a really big problem from here on out for them, and that this is going to be continuing to be a friction point between the two of them because they just don't have the same financial goals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it might just be that you're incompatible, or it might be that he just views OP as an ATM, like you said. Let us know what you folks think. Oh, and this is something I keep forgetting. Let me know what you dressed up for Halloween. I already got a couple of responses here from folks, uh, but I forgot to ask, and I'm always very curious about what to know what you folks dressed up as. So
I dressed up almost all the days of October.
yes,
So
Amber dressed
I
up
had
a lot.
multiple costumes.
She did. Very very cute costumes, and I dressed up all through Halloween day
Yes, well,
for a
you
few
dressed up
minutes.
4 times. I got 4 couples costumes out of you.
She did. She did. I wore them for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Telling Someone That She's High Maintenance at a Restaurant? I am a 22-year-old male, and I went to lunch at Chili's with 2 friends, and one brought his sister, a 20-year-old female. I immediately got bad vibes from her. We were talking about majors, and her major is history. I jokingly said that must be nice since all of us are majoring in CS, which is hard work and takes a lot of time. She then tried to tell me that she spends as much time studying and writing papers as us, which anyone knows in college knows is a lie.
No, it's not.
She tried to compare her humanities major with my hard STEM degree, and I find that frankly disingenuous and insulting. It gave me big, entitled, and Karen-y vibes. Later, we were talking about movies, and all she could talk about were romantic comedies. I joked, Do you watch anything with deeper intellectual value than The Notebook or whatever? She said that she watches movies for enjoyment, which I found to be rather snippy. I honestly think that she's very childish and shallow individual, and I'm glad my sister is nothing like her. I pointed this out to my friends when she went to the bathroom, and he didn't know what I was talking about. She came back, and finally the food arrived. The girl immediately sent it back. She said that she's allergic to tomatoes on her bread. I mean, come on. Just pick them off like an adult and go into anaphylactic shock like a real English history major, liberal arts. I made a funny joke to her brother and said, Does the little sister need someone to cut up the corners of her PB&J too? And she got uppity and snapped about it and said that she's had enough of me. Well, I had enough of her, and I was like, Okay, Karen, don't worry. Your servant is bringing you a new sandwich with no tomato soon. No need to scream at him when he gets back. She started screeching at me, shrilly saying that I've attacked her all night. I was like, sorry, I don't need to deal with shallow, entitled Karens who think the Notebook is cultured and make the waiter run around picking off their tomatoes. Do you need to speak with the manager? She totally lost civility and called me names and told her brother's friends that we're all jerks. She left in a huff. My friend said that I should apologize for upsetting her. I'm trying to figure out why I should apologize to a Karen just because she got emotional and sensitive after I called her out. Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Jerk, big time. First of all, you don't understand how allergies work. You can't just pick allergens off in a lot of
Oh
cases.
my goodness, Amber, he's a STEM major. Of course he knows everything.
Secondly, I literally had one STEM major and minor, one humanities major and minor. They were each challenging in their own ways, and I probably spent more time on the humanities because you have to do so much reading and writing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different challenges with different degree
Mm-hmm.
programs, and that's really what this boils down to. And saying that one degree program is superior just because it's more mathematically inclined potentially isn't necessarily ingenuous, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And computer science is a difficult degree program, but there are a lot of other difficult degree programs, and that's just what this boils down to. I think that OP is really the one who has the problem here. I don't think that she sounds like she was just tolerating his behavior the whole
Mm-hmm.
night until she finally just lost it. And like I think it's funny how he's like, "Oh, you're insulting me now and losing civility," when he's been uncivil the
Mm-hmm.
entire
Yeah,
time.
like making fun of everything. Like, oh, you watch movies for fun?
Yeah.
How uncultured.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
what do you watch movies for? To one up people? It's
yeah. Apparently to one up people. So, yeah. So, anyhow, take care and good luck.
or not.
All right, folks. Our last letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for pretending not to recognize my husband at a restaurant?" I'm a 30-year-old female, and I just want to say that my husband River, a 26-year-old male, is wonderful, funny, and a kind person. He's also incredibly handsome, and I'm not. River works in an industry that's very looks based. I've noticed that he's embarrassed and ashamed when he introduces me as his wife to his coworkers. This happened a few times, and he shuffles away awkwardly. He doesn't look anyone in the eye, and he just makes a strained smile and immediately tries to veer the conversation away to something else, only when he says that I'm his wife. The events were miserable for him. I stopped going to his events, and now they're successful. It used to hurt, but I realized that's just how the industry is, and people do judge him and talk behind his back because of what I look like. People do that in general because he's more attractive than me. He told me that he's trying very hard to succeed at his new job, and his new boss was incredibly judgmental. She destroyed the career of an employee who reported the team for exclusionary behavior and fired someone who wore the same jacket as her once, for example. My coworker and I went to a fast casual restaurant for lunch yesterday. It wasn't as crowded as the other places during lunchtime rush. My husband, his boss, and his coworkers were already there, unbeknownst to me. I had seen him immediately, but I pretended that I didn't. However, it turns out that River's boss and my coworker went to the same business school, not unusual. They caught up and introduced us all to each other. Instead of saying that he was my husband, I shook his hand and said, "Nice to meet you." I sat next to my coworker and across from his coworker, not deliberately. I didn't say that he was my husband, and neither did he. I felt like he was looking at me, but when I looked at him, he looked away. When I got home later that night, he was crying. He said that he didn't know what to do for me for ignoring him, and if our marriage meant so little, why I didn't just take off my rings. I told him, and I said I didn't want to make him ashamed of me, and he got very quiet. My mom said that I was acting ridiculous, but my dad agrees with my reasoning. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. And honestly, I have some serious concerns about your relationship if your partner is so embarrassed about bringing you to work functions. Like,
This is a really odd
it
situation.
is.
It's a really odd kind of agreement too, and that he feels so uncomfortable introducing OP. And I think honestly, I don't blame OP for taking this route because it seems like OP got the impression that he didn't feel comfortable introducing her
Mm-hmm.
to their coworkers, and I just can't blame them for not wanting to put him in that position, especially if his industry is this looks oriented. So I think that he wants to have his cake and eat it too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what this boils down to. They needed to have like a discussion of what to do if we see each other in public, if this is such a big deal here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
A sad situation more than
Mm-hmm.
anything. And I don't know. I want to know what you folks have to say about this one because this one is so peculiar. It's so odd that I don't
I'm
know what
so
to
curious
think.
about what the industry like. Is
Yeah.
he a model?
Yeah, like is he in adult entertainment?
Like I can't think of very many professions where like
looks are so important.
And the looks of your partner, of all things,
Yeah.
too. Like, why does
Yeah.
it matter what your partner looks like?
Well, exactly. And that's the thing that's really boggling here is that it seems like this is so important that it's like career ending for him.
Which doesn't make sense to me.
No, no.
And like, wouldn't be able to be in a relationship like that. Like, if Brian's like, "Oh, I can't show you to my coworkers because it will ruin my reputation," I would, I would be very hurt.
Yeah, it seems very hurtful. It seems very hurtful. Anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, courtesy of the Amber. Oh, and the tea is trying to steal my headphone cable.
Why is it hard to walk with a goat around? Or talk, not walk.
Oh, why is it hard to talk with a goat around? Well, because they're the greatest of all time, and they will say things, and just by being the greatest, they're going to accidentally one-up you. It's not like they mean to, but it's just one of those things that happens. They're like, they say something, and it's like they have a golden tongue, and the attention is immediately taken away from you, and you may as well just not even be in the room. It's sad. It really is sad.
Because it always butts in.
I was close on that one with my rambles. And I've got Mega Mint tea. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You were a very cute kitten with our filter here. And thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye. Meow.